Now, a recent study by the Stellenbosch University's Research on Socio-economic Policy Unity has revealed that of the current employed teachers by the Department of Basic Education, almost half are over the age of 50. This has raised concern over the possibility of a shortage of teachers in the country in the near future. The department says measures have been put in place as far back as 2007 to mitigate age concerns. For more on this, we speak to the Chief Executive Officer of the National Professional Teachers Organization of South Africa, Basil Manuel. Mr. Manuel, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, this crisis, which is looming of the possibility of South Africa having a skills shortage with regards to teachers, the Department of Basic Education says there's no concerns over a predicted teacher shortage in the coming years. Where do we stand?
Good morning, Katlego, and thanks for having me. Katlego, that's partially true. And let me explain why I say that. At the moment, there is a shortage of certain types of teachers with certain types of qualifications. You think about Afrikaans teachers in secondary schools. You think about junior primary teachers. There's a shortage looming at this very moment. However, at the same time, there are unemployed teachers, young people that have come out of the training institutions, the universities, and the TVET colleges, and they haven't been able to find placements, primarily also because provinces are very tardy in appointing people. They rather make schools suffer first before that happens. So, yes, the research is highlighting a future scenario. The present does show that teachers are aging, and there's a large cohort of teachers that will exit soon. But we cannot rest on our laurels simply assuming that because we are training numbers of teachers, that would satisfy the demand. It is not the numbers that matter. It is whether the numbers are in every category that we need, every subject that we need, as well as, of course, the changing types of subjects that we need to be catering for.
So if I understand you clearly, Basil, we have a group of teachers who have qualified but do not necessarily meet the skills that we need of the teachers that we have a shortage of within our schools. Where are we missing each other with regards to then training these teachers that are coming out of teachers' colleges with the right skills and the necessary skills that are needed in the schooling system?
Your interpretation is absolutely correct. The disjuncture comes where we number one find that very few students who have done critical subjects like mathematics, like the sciences, are wanting to go into the teaching profession. They are headhunted by other professions as well, engineering, etc. But then, of course, with the changes in the skills demand, we need teachers who are computer literate and are able to teach the various disciplines that come with the computer sciences. They are very few and far between at the moment within the teaching fraternity, and particularly within those being trained. So that is where the disjuncture comes. We've got to make certain things a little more attractive to attract the right skill set. So whilst we have teachers being trained, not all of them are going to find employment because the system is changing. We also see that our special schools, our special needs schools, have a tremendous shortage because people don't find it attractive enough given the type of workload that you have in certain schools. So the dynamic is such that there's no one answer and there's no one solution. It's multifaceted, and we've got to look at the whole system and not glibly say there is no problem because we are training numbers. There is a problem if those numbers don't match the demand.
So in essence, the attraction to the teaching profession as a whole is still there, especially amongst young people.
Katlego, we can analyze it in different ways. At the moment, yes, there are a lot of people going into the teaching profession. But that is also symptomatic of countries when they go through difficult economic times. People look for safer jobs and safer opportunities. And when the economy changes, those very people also step out and go into others. So we've got to be very careful that we don't start seeing this as being a complete turnaround. There are positives. There are more people joining. But are they there for the long haul? That's where the difference lies. Unfortunately, you can't predict this perfectly because you will only see when the economy changes whether those will stick around. But teaching is also an access to jobs abroad in other countries. And we know countries like the United States, countries like the Middle East, Australia, they're all looking for teachers. Not in the future, today. They're looking for teachers now. And for our teachers, that becomes an attraction. So we are not only fighting natural attrition in terms of age and retirement and deaths, we are also fighting the attraction of all the other countries that will draw teachers away from us.
Sure. So what sort of problem, who suffers the most? Surely it's the students.
It is always the students, but let me start with the teachers as a teacher representative. The teachers suffer because learner numbers per class increase. They are expected to do far more than what is normal. And then too, administration suffers. But then too, the choice of learners is the first that suffers. When you don't have the right cohort of teachers to teach all the varied types of subjects, you reduce your curriculum. The country then suffers because we then start pumping out children with a certain skill set and other skill sets that are needed to, we simply don't have. So it's a conundrum that we have to sit and look at all the time. The research is good research because it alerts us to a number of things that we ought to be looking at, not simply just saying we are okay for today. The future matters, and it matters a lot.
Most certainly. And the spokesperson for the department, Mr. Elijah Mhlanga, was speaking to SABC News, and when the report came out, he was saying that the study isn't accurate, but he did concede that the department requires more funding to expand on schools in order to reduce those big numbers of classrooms.
Absolutely. And one must look at the research for what it is. It's a futurist research. It's looking at what could happen in the long run. It also looked at and considered that there are teachers being trained. However, if that is the simplistic look at it, if you look at it a little deeper, it will also say to you that yes, it's not just about numbers. And this is what the department needs to understand. That yes, you may lose 1,000, you may train 1,000, but are those 1,000 the right fit for the 1,000 that have left? And that is where the difference comes in.
In creating that fit, and speaking back to what you were talking about in terms of the specialized skills that the teachers need to have in order for them to be able to be placed in schools, where do you think it begins? Does it go back then to the schooling system where subjects like mathematics and science are not subjects that a lot of students are taking up? Therefore, we then have a shortage of people moving into the profession of becoming maths teachers as opposed to working as engineers using their mathematics.
Yes, I do think we need to encourage far more children to go into mathematics, and that we are now talking about pure mathematics, because we need more people that would be able to go into various fields. The department has been proactive in that we've introduced coding and robotics, and that is a stepping stone for children to know what that particular skill set demands. And of course, they may then find that line attractive when they get to the point of study. Because the future is about artificial intelligence, it is about robotics, and it is about many, many things that we are not doing today. And if we don't have the people that have the mathematics inclination, have the scientific inclination, also going into teaching, we will have a gap, and we will forever be buyers of technology and not creators of technology. And that is where the real nub of the report lies, not just in numbers, but to say, let's look at it critically and analytically and see where the demand is going to go in the next 10 years.
Well, certainly. Thank you so much for your time this morning. That's the CEO of NAPTOSA, Mr. Basil Manuel, speaking to us there about the possibilities of South Africa facing a teacher crisis in the near future.